That's right. Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
Jokers Wild.
And oh my god, this is a long time coming. It's the great WDW Rankin podcast finale.
I know.
Top 10 attractions.
We did it.
Oh yeah.
Great
I
job.
love how honestly this podcast has been a bit of an endeavor because like when I did the original Great Ranking podcast with the Disney movies, I was like all into the thumbnails and everything and keeping people updated. And with this, it's just like it wasn't even because of a lack of interest. It was more just because our schedules kept getting messed up.
Yeah.
But we had a whole thread for this, and then I don't know. At a certain point, I just kind of gave up on thumbnails, which is really rare for me. But whatever, we're doing it. We're winging it. All right. Before we get started, I just want to announce this is like one of the few times where I'm actually going to be plugging something, and of course, the thing I'm going to be plugging is myself. If you go to this channel's community page, Jokers, you can even do this right now. You can participate
Right now.
I have a poll with 5 enticing options for the future of the Great Ranking podcast. Those options are going to be Universal Orlando attractions, Disneyland / California Adventure attractions. Let's see, what else do I have? DreamWorks movies. I don't even remember my own poll. I have Pixar characters, which is that's probably the one that's the most in the I don't like. Obviously, we're not going to rank every single Pixar character. It's going to be mostly like I'm thinking like either main characters or main character duos. And then and also Disney Toon Studios movies.
Yeah.
And it looks like we already have 5 votes. So yeah, keep it up.
Including me. I voted.
What did you vote for?
I'm not telling you. I voted for Universal Orlando attractions.
Yes. That's actually probably the one I'm hoping for, just because I think it makes the most sense to follow this one up.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right, let's just dive right into it. We are, this is the top 10. We've been doing this for a long time, and now it's time to finally get into it. So, insert generic Poe Dameron joke. You go first. Who does this? What do you want to do? That joke is really so overplayed at this point.
It's okay. I don't remember who went first last time, so actually, why don't you go first?
I'll go first. Okay.
Yeah.
My number 10 is going to be it put up a hell of a fight, but at this point it has to be planted here in the top 10 to start off the list. It's my beloved dinosaur.
Wow.
We've kind of been, I think for some of this top 10, we've been talking about a lot of them as they've been coming up. This made your last list, right?
Yeah, dinosaur is my number 12.
Okay. So we're not too far off on this.
No.
I actually was kind of surprised how close we were. Considering I feel like you and I, every time I write dinosaur and I give that little opinion in the group chat, I'm like, Indiana Jones might be the better attraction, but dinosaur is the better ride. And you're like, I vehemently disagree. I don't know. So I expect you to not defend this as much as you actually do in the grand scheme of things.
Hey, Tiki?
Yeah.
You just totally cut out for me.
Did I really?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Sorry, guys.
Ooh, okay. Well, shoot.
Oh no. Sorry, it was totally me because it's hearable. You can hear it on the video, so ignore me.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine.
That was weird. Sorry.
All right, so yeah, dinosaur. I really, really love how this is basically the one Disney attraction that genuinely kind of freaks me out. I think that it's got that kind of like Michael Eisner 90s energy to it, and I genuinely love it about that. I think Professor Seeker is a very lovable Disney character, like Disney Parks character. We're not going to make it. We're not going to make it. All kinds of fun quotes and stuff. The Carnotaurus, when it actually works, is very intimidating. Actually pretty ahead of its time, considering it basically did, obviously a far less sophisticated, but still basically the same idea as the Indominus Rex chase from the new Universal Studios attraction. The whole idea of an animatronic following your vehicle. So I don't know, man. I actually think that the darkness actually helps with this thing as far as because with Indiana Jones, it's like you kind of notice when the effects aren't working or when the budget is kind of a little bit cheapened. Dark room, please get rid of that black light. Please actually put in some permanent walls. But yeah, obviously, the queue is. I think the queue is iconic to a certain degree with the, especially the rotunda and the skeleton and the fossils and everything like that. But obviously, it's nowhere near the quality of the indie queue. But I still think, like I said, not the greatest attraction, but one of my all-time favorite rides, and that's where I kind of put the distinction.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
All right, number 10 for you.
My number 10 is Test Track, which I'm pretty sure you had a lot lower. Am I wrong?
Yeah, let me. I did have that a lot lower. I'm not a big Test Track fan.
That's okay. I really like
Let's
Test
see.
Track.
God, it's number 39 on my list. Jesus,
Yeah,
that's kind of harsh, but
yeah, that
I
is.
don't know.
That's
I honestly think if it was the original Test Track, I'd have it a lot higher, just because I feel like that one was a lot more gritty and tangible. I'm really not a fan of like. I feel like, if they want to do the Tron thing, just do Tron, just theme it to Tron. I don't know. I feel like the 2.0 is just kind of all over the place for me.
I don't know. I disagree. Like I like the original. I think the original had a lot more personality than the new one. But I think you'd realize if you rode the original version just how empty it feels and how
I'm sure, yeah.
like weirdly unthemed in its theming it felt, just by its nature, because it's supposed to be a warehouse and a testing facility. And boy did it show. So I like what they were trying to do with the new Test Track. I appreciate that it's a lot darker than it used to be. Even some of the effects they plussed, like the truck, right before the actual launch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that they kind of updated it so it feels a little less tacky, even though we lose. Oh my God, who was in the driver's seat? I think there was a Nixon or a Lyndon B. Johnson cut out in the driver's seat. It was something really weird. So, but point being, I'm glad they were able to like update some effects, make some of the sets a little bit more gel a little bit more with the rest of the attraction. So I appreciate from that perspective. But I just really like Test Track. It's a lot of fun. Obviously, Radiator Springs Racer is the better ride. But
yeah, I was going to say, I really think me having it at number 39 is probably just a byproduct of me being a California boy.
Yeah, probably.
I'm just like, I have such easier access to Radiator Springs Racers, which is like just such a higher caliber version of the same ride system. So.
Well, as the true unbiased ranker, I'm able to separate the two.
Fair enough.
No, I don't know. I really like Test Track. It's a lot of fun.
All right, so we're basically going to bang out the big three, like basically the Tomorrowland Trinity, all in a row in the that's coming up. So number 9. This actually might be controversial. I actually think people might be a little bit upset like that it's not in the top 5, but I gotta go with my heart. And number 9 for me is People Mover.
Okay.
I love it. Obviously, I love it. I love everything in this top 10, of course. I think for me, I will admit that like I have tried to marathon it before, like, and people like Disney Dan have literally marathoned it all day and got an enjoyment out of it. I tend to kind of like get one ride and I'm good. I kind of like, I don't know. I feel like this ride gets a little bit overhyped by the community as far as, like they very much value it just because it is there and it exists and it does not exist in Disneyland. Don't get me wrong, I love it. I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, it is just a scenic elevated tram ride. It's like I almost feel like the Disneyland version I feel is probably a little bit more elevated, pun intended, just based on the fact that it goes out over the lagoon and just kind of like I feel like that one is like, as far as like when it actually was around was a little bit more. I guess what I'm trying to say basically is the fact that I'm not crazy about how this People Mover basically just has the hallways that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it goes through the hallways, which is great. It's fine. It's efficient. I'm just saying, like at Disneyland, I feel like the concept of the People Mover was a little bit more kinetic as far as how it interacted with the actual land. So I don't know. I'm nitpicking at this point. It's a Disney institution. I'm just saying it's hard for me to justify ranking this above most of the e-tickets that I have on the list. Or I should say that I have on the top 10, as well as a couple of the sentimental favorites that aren't e-tickets. So
no, that's kind of where I'm at too. Like I adore the People Mover, but if it makes you feel better, I had it ranked as number 21.
Oh right, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I had it pretty low. It's not like I love it, I adore it, but there's bigger rides that are more impactful.
Okay, so we have Theme Park Priest in the comments. Just says, "Here we go." And LEB says, haven't been, but definitely seems like a realistic depiction of public transportation. And
no, it's too clean, far too clean.
It's definitely an idealized version of public transportation.
Yeah.
I feel like the People Movers and how they would have been incorporated into Epcot, like the city of Epcot, I feel like is probably my favorite thing about the concept of Epcot as a city, honestly. Just how you had the actual roadways going underneath the city, and then the public transportation was literally just all People Movers connected in the main hub.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, what is your number 9, sir?
What is my number 9? My number 9. Ooh. My number 9 is Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
I hoisted up
solely
by its queue.
Again, as a California boy, that is way too high.
Well, no, Tiki. I mean, again, I can separate the two. I much prefer California's. Aside from the queue, I think that Florida's has the superior queue. But at the end of the day, it's still Pirates. Like it's missing a lot, but it's still Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, when you lose the Blue Bayou, you lose a lot, man. Like that to me is like a major part of Pirates' identity.
I mean, it's a major part of. I don't want to get into the semantics of what makes Pirates Pirates, but I think if we're talking about Walt Disney World rides, Pirates of the Caribbean is one of my favorite attractions, or was when I was a child. It still is. And I love pirates, short or long, tall or skinny or fat, all of them equally. And really, again, this is just mostly propped up by the queue, because boy, is that queue stellar. You're missing a lot of it because they ruined it when they added Fast Pass Plus. But before...
No, I've seen the full queue.
Have you? Well, yeah.
You're saying like pre-Fast Pass. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, pre-Fast Pass Plus.
I thought you were just saying like. Okay, I see what you're saying. My bad.
Yeah, no. Pre-Fast Pass Plus, you could choose which side of the queue you wanted to go in, and they were also slightly different. Like the layout of the queues were slightly different. They rerouted it a little bit when they were adding Fast Pass Plus. And that takes a little bit from the queue, but the queue itself is still really beautiful. I still really like it. Yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean, number 9, where it belongs to, where it deserves to be.
All right, just chugging right along. My number 8 is Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress. Have you done this already? No. Okay.
Wait, this is your number 8?
This is my number 8.
This is my number 8 too.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Wow,
perfect.
We did it. We agree.
Really quick, Theme Park Pre says, I like elements of Pirates at Paris, but Disneyland beats out Walt Disney World. Yeah,
of course it does.
I'll give Disney World the queue, of course, because frankly, Disneyland's queue sucks. They really desperately need to use that treehouse space for extended queue space. I've been saying that for years, but that's an entirely different conversation. Anyways, at least the base camp. Come on now. Even if it's a mess of switchbacks, at least it would be a mess of switchbacks that isn't in the middle of New Orleans Square.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, I digress. Okay, but so yeah, carousel progress. I think you and I probably have very similar thoughts as far as honestly, this to me is about the closest that a Disney attraction will come to legitimately feeling like a quintessential, like I don't say this in a bad way, I say like in a very good way. It feels like a museum exhibit.
Yeah.
Like a very important museum exhibit.
No, totally. I
Um
actually, side note, I really liked the rumors. I don't know if there were any merit to them. That Carousel Progress would be moved to the Smithsonian. When they were
I
talking
would
about
actually like
giving it out.
if it had to leave Disney World, which I
Mm,
would never want it to leave Disney World, but if that had to if that had to be a thing, then yeah, I legitimately do think it is museum worthy. I mean, it's like you feel the history in that building.
yeah,
I don't know, man. It just is a World's Fair geek. Like I feel like it is very quintessential classic Disney.
yeah, no, totally. Again, like Carousel Progress and Pirates were my two favorite rides when I was a small child. So I have a lot of nostalgia for Carousel
Mhm.
Progress. I have a lot of fond memories. It's a ride that I always do once. Um, and it's great. Like you said, it's the quintessential. Like I think it's the quintessential old Disney ride.
Totally,
Between
totally.
that and Disneyland has Lincoln, we have Carousel Progress.
Mhm.
Neither of which have really changed too much over the years, and that's okay. Uh,
I think
I
the most that Lincoln ever changed was when they put in that weird like sounds dangerous with Drew Carey technology.
mm, yeah. Honestly, the only thing Carousel needs is I really wish they would change that last scene. They
Totally,
sort of
totally.
updated it, but not the they didn't update the script. They just
I've
updated the
actually
costumes,
seen
I think.
I think I brought this up with you before, but I've seen it a couple times where the video game on the screen just isn't working and it's like just
Yeah,
like green screen. I'm like, oh, that's
I'm
like
not surprised.
it's not a great scene to begin with, but that's doubly not great.
Yeah, yeah,
And
it's
frankly,
crazy.
we have ovens that work pretty much exactly like that by now, honestly.
Yeah,
Like
I
smart
know.
homes are a thing.
It's not even the future anymore.
All right, but yeah, I think everything in the attraction that takes place in the past is like just utterly charming, and
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
like one of my favorite things about this is I love some of the really simple stuff like like the effects that they do in the windows, like how it rains in the windows and stuff like
Hmm.
that. I don't know. There's just a lot of like really cool old school trickery at play.
Yeah.
Love it.
Those, all the scrims, everything
Uh
is
huh.
really cool.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna throw it to you for your number 7 then.
My number 7. Sorry, I just woke up. My number 7 is the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror.
Okay.
Um,
I had this at 12. I don't
yeah,
know. I feel like I underrate this a little bit, but yeah, I don't know.
yeah. I
I
really
feel like
don't.
this is a case where it's like I literally like my whole life as a Disney fan, I heard the hype about it and like going to it, it just never I feel like the ride itself never quite lived up to the hype for me personally.
Yeah, I disagree because I think it really does, and it's the best version of this attraction. Um, I mean, obviously, Guardians of the Galaxy could change stuff, but talking strictly Tower of Terrors, so I know that Guardians kind of masks how
I would wager
masks.
to say that like I actually think that if we're really getting technical with it, I think Monsters After Dark specifically is the best version of Tower of Terror.
Yeah, but I mean, Guardians and Monsters still kind of masks how
Sure, sure.
underwhelming the actual ride is. Where I think I think Tower of Terror in Florida has a lot of those moments that any of the other versions, including Tokyo, it doesn't have.
You haven't been
Um,
on Monsters After Dark, right? Have you?
no, I haven't. No,
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you like Monsters After Dark is something you physically have to ride because honestly,
I'm
it's
sure.
all about the forces. Like
Yeah.
the forces on Monsters After Dark are insane. Like I have
I mean,
never
is it really that much different of a profile?
I swear to God it is.
Okay.
Like and it's the same profile every time, so it's not like So it's not like the random profile where you might get a really good one or you might get an okay
Yeah.
one. No, it's like it's a profile that kicks your ass every time.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm probably just speaking about this like from a coaster enthusiast point of view, but anyways, I digress.
Knowing that ride, you're probably distracted by the video, but it's okay. Point being, Tower of Terror has a lot in Disney World, has a lot of extra elements that the other versions don't, which really sets it above for me. Like honestly, even just that fourth dimension scene, like I really love, and I think
I've
it's a
never
lot of
been a
fun.
fan of the fourth dimension scene. I think that's where you and I differ. I just don't see what's so amazing about it outside of like obviously the technology was the technology. I feel
I
like
mean,
I have
it's
the same
not the
thing with the fourth.
technology; it's the tension it sets. Not
Yeah,
just that, but obviously we all know what the ride is. But if you're riding it for the first
I'm
time,
gonna
you
give
don't.
you a super duper
Okay,
unpopular opinion, Evan.
okay.
I think the scene in California Adventure, for me personally, and this might be because I wrote it first, had more tension in it.
Wait, what scene?
The scene where you see the ghosts on the other side of the room, and then it transitions into the starry sky, and then you see the elevator drop.
You mean the scene that WDW also has exactly?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess
But
maybe I'm talking pacing. I don't know.
the pacing's the same. You
No
go up
bullshit.
like
It's
four.
not. Like I said, I legitimately do think that the fourth. Anyways, let's go ahead. I'm
I know
sorry.
we don't need to have this
Yeah.
debate. Um, I don't know. It's a great ride. I think this is the superior version of Tower of Terror. I'm not including Guardians because that's a different attraction, even though it has the same ride system, obviously.
Uh-huh.
Um, honestly, I still think it's superior to Tokyo, other than the pre-show. Everything up to the ride in Tokyo is stellar, and then it's the exact profile as California Adventure, and it loses a lot of the ride. It loses a lot of points for me for that. But yeah, I don't really have too much more to say. But I
Okay.
think that on their first go, they really perfected the system for Tower of Terror. They knew what they wanted to do, and they did it. And I think this is one of the rare. Well, no, it's not. I guess it's not rare because Pirates 2. I was going to say it's one of the rare cases of a first version of the ride being superior to the second. But that also happened with Pirates, and I'm sure other attractions. Now that I'm saying that out loud, same thing to
Right.
me.
All right. Number 7 for me, Space Mountain. This was technically the first one, right?
Yeah, this is the first one.
And it's the better one. God damn it! There's another
Finally.
example.
Oh my god, Tiki, remember 10 years ago when I tried really hard to get you to believe me that this was the superior version?
I have come around quite a
Good.
bit.
Good.
Here's the thing. I honestly think that this is again the coaster enthusiast in me talking. The Disneyland version is fun, right? It's a lot of fun, and obviously, I do feel like the sensory elements, the AC blasting in your face, the Starfield, all of that is slightly better in California. What California doesn't have is forces, and Florida, I don't care if you're only going like 30 something miles an hour. That ride feels terrifying every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll talk about it more when I get to my ranking, but I like Disneyland's, but it does kind of turn into just left turn the ride.
No, literally,
And,
all it is left turn the ride. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And honestly, as a coaster enthusiast, once I noticed that, it kind of killed the ride for me just a little.
Yeah.
Like, to me, the most interesting thing about the Disneyland version is honestly probably just all the Mr. One Way stuff surrounding it.
I
I'm
do think
not
the
even kidding when I say
overlays.
that.
I know. I do think the overlays in California help it a lot, like
Ghost
Hyperspace
Galaxy
Mountain.
is rock solid as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned. If they don't do Hyperspace Mountain ever again, that'll be fine because I like Hyperspace Mountain wore out its welcome for me, and I was only
Yeah.
going to Disneyland for a few years.
I liked Hyperspace Mountain, but it's been around for like a really long time because I wrote it.
Uh-huh.
Jesus Christ, how long has it been there?
It's been there since like
Like
at
like
least
6
like
years?
2015. Yeah,
Oh my god.
2014.
Because I wrote it in 2016.
Uh
Yeah, that should not. No.
huh.
Why? Anyway, any other thoughts on Space Mountain? Because I'll talk about it more
The
later.
Star Tunnel. Enough
Yeah,
said.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I do think that the exit walkway is a bit annoyingly long, but whatever.
It's because you have to get under the berm again.
No, I know, I
I
know.
think it loses a lot by getting rid of the speed ramp.
Uh-huh. I
'Cause
agree.
I liked a lot of that 70s charm. Anyway, my number seven.
Right.
No, six. My number
6. Yeah,
six.
because I think we
Yeah,
we
first
switched to it first, but
we
whatever.
did.
What's your
Yeah,
number
it's
6?
okay. My number six is Big Thunder Mountain Railroad.
Okay, so my number. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
I feel like we have like you and I have Big Thunder and Space pretty much like very similar, like in each other's rankings. Anyways,
I don't know. Um, I think this is the best version of Big Thunder Mountain. Um, I love Big Thunder Mountain. I love the queue that this version has. I really love the loading area. Um,
absolutely.
and Tokyo has the same loading area and a similar queue, without the interactive elements, obviously. Honestly, if this got an upgrade like Disneyland's got, like what, like 10 years ago now,
Oh God,
like it
yeah.
would be very, very hard to top. I don't know why they haven't given Disney World the upgrades that Disneyland has gotten. Because boy, should they. But no, everything's just fantastic with this ride. Like I
I
really
mean,
like
honestly,
Tumbleweed.
they really just need to do something with that last lift hill, even if it isn't like exactly what they did at Disneyland. They just need to do
Well, yeah, no,
something.
that's what kills it is that lift hill.
Yeah,
Like it's okay.
yeah.
Like it's been like that literally my entire life, and I'm
Oh
used to
God.
it. But I really like the
It's just such
dynamite
an
scenes. I have
anticlimax, though.
I know, yeah. My biggest surprise was that Tokyo is the exact same way.
Really?
Tokyo is the
Huh.
exact same lift, like nothing going on, and it's just a
Uh
lift of rocks that used to move. Um,
huh.
but
Oh
I
man,
like Tumbleweed. I
I
like the
remember when the Disneyland rocks moved. It wasn't even
yeah,
that impressive, honestly.
yeah. Actually, I think I might remember it when I was really young, but
Uh-huh.
I'm not. I don't know. I don't know when they turned it off. Um, but I like Tumbleweed. I like the layout. I like the added caves. I think Disney World has a few added caves from Disneyland's.
Yeah, I'll speak
Um,
more to it when I get to it on my list.
yeah. But I don't have too much to say. But I really like its placement. I like the area that it's in. Uh, yeah, just a really great version of a great ride.
All right. Theme Park Priest says the Paris Big Thunder Mountain is awesome. And honestly, the Paris Big Thunder Mountain kind of feels like one of the one of the Disney attractions where it's like it's not even close. Like it looks like it's so superior.
Yeah, I really want to ride Paris's. I think right now Disney World and Tokyo's are very neck and neck for me.
That makes sense.
I'm not sure which I prefer.
I know that Ezra's been on the Paris one. Yeah, he says it's not even close.
Yeah.
All right, my number 6. I'm going to just go ahead and rip off this Band-Aid. This is totally a biased me thing, but it's the Grand Fiesta Tour starring the 3 Caballeros.
Okay.
I know. It's ridiculous. I am honestly kind of like, I know this isn't exactly fair, but I almost view the Mexico Pavilion as a whole, at least the pyramid part of it, is like one attraction.
Yeah.
At the very, very least, you bet your ass I will go to La Cava, which, by the way, still has the best margaritas I have ever had in my life. Those margaritas are amazing. I'm sure that in the current day and age, Disney's probably cheaped out on them like they've cheaped out on everything else. I wouldn't be surprised to go into La Cava now and see them like pre-mixing the margaritas. I really wouldn't. But when I had them, they were damn amazing. So just being able to get like legitimately the best margaritas I've ever had in my life and drinking a margarita and hopping right on the boat ride. It's just there's just something really special about it. It's like a Dole Whip in the Tiki Room at Disneyland. It's literally like that combination for me.
Yeah.
I don't know, just the indoor outdoor vibe of the whole pyramid is just wonderful. I really think the pyramid itself is probably my favorite area in all of Epcot. My God, if they could just improve the menu at that sit down restaurant to the point where it's something I actually want to eat at, that would be great. I don't know. Like, honestly, I know I've talked about this before, but just that first turnaround where you go past the pyramid and you're right, like that Blue Bayou style room. Just that alone, just that vibe to me, it is like genuinely one of the most peaceful, relaxing, serene moments in any theme park ride I have ever experienced. Like, just bar none. I'm not even kidding. Like, just like obviously it gives you, like, as a Disneyland fan, it's the closest that I'm going to get to the Disneyland Pirates of the Caribbean, or at least the Blue Bayou, while I'm in Florida. But more than that, I don't know. It's just like I feel like in some ways that turnaround is almost even better than the Blue Bayou, just because like it's so in the middle of everything. I could just geek out about it.
Yeah.
On top of that, I love the movie. I love that the representation is there. The animatronics, when they work, of course, are historical. Having been at the resort since opening day. Um, just everything about the attraction just has real charm to me. Even the fact that it's a little bit screen based, it still is. I just love it. Like I said, like I feel like the actual like setting of the Mexico pyramid as a whole definitely plays a part in this for sure.
Mm.
But even still, there's just something really special about this thing, man. I don't know. It's just like I didn't go to Disneyland. I'm sorry, I didn't go to Disney World until I was nearly 30 years old. But I feel like the Grand Fiesta Tour is about the closest thing that I have to Disney World nostalgia, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I get you. I like this version. I still think I prefer the original.
That's
And
totally fair.
I think
Yeah,
you probably would too, honestly.
I probably would, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. But like that whole opening segment really makes the whole ride.
Hmm.
And the finale, like there's a few scenes that are fantastic.
The finale, the opening village scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
All
a
right.
great ride. Yeah. Okay, my
We're on
number
to the
5.
top 5, baby.
My number 5. Look at that. It's another mountain. We have the racist one this time.
Wow.
I'm so sorry. My number 5 is Splash Mountain.
Okay, this is my number 21, and honestly, I feel like I ranked that a little bit low. Like, frankly, it should be higher than Grand Fiesta Tour. My bad.
Yeah. No, it's okay.
But
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Honestly, I feel like I left. Like, I would hate to see this attraction in the state it's in now, because even back in 2021, it was in not a great state, and that's probably part of the reason why. Like, if I were ranking this just based on my first couple rides on it, I think it would probably easily be in the top 10. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's one of those things. Like, I almost feel like it's like Disney World's version of Indiana Jones, where it's just gotten progressively, it's kind of progressively almost deteriorated over the years.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I haven't been on this ride. I haven't been on Disney World version in a few years.
Oh,
So I haven't really seen much of that deterioration. But speaking about it from when I have ridden it, I really love it. It's a fantastic ride. I do prefer it to Disneyland's, but I think a lot of people do. Yeah, like I've never been on it when it's been like too down and out. It's always been in pretty good shape when I've been on it.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, just it's a lot of fun. I'm okay with it being removed, but I'm still sad to see it go. Because of how much I enjoy the ride. I think it's just really a really unique concept. Like you don't really see Disney resurrecting old IPs to make rides like 40 years after the fact. 50 years after the fact. Oh my god, yeah. It's like what, 92 it opened? Yeah, it's just I don't know. I think everything about it works when the effects are working. Obviously, everything comes together and works really well. It's a really it's a really cool modern water ride. You don't
Oh
really
yeah.
see water rides that are quite so themed or quite so unique. Even now, like in a post Splash Mountain world, you don't really see water rides that are quite as ambitious. Um, and I think
If
it's a
this counts, I would say the current iteration of the Jurassic World ride.
that's fair. I even then, like
I don't know,
even
man. Have
like
you seen the iRex animatronic?
well,
Have
yeah,
you
but
seen that damn
yes,
animatronic?
yes, but at the same time, it doesn't quite match the thrills
That
to the tech.
animatronic literally gives me nightmares.
Okay, it doesn't quite match the thrills to the technology that Splash Mountain does. You know,
I
um,
guess.
but Splash Mountain, fantastic. I weep for its loss. Um, at least we still have Tokyo's. For now, there's rumors that we might not have Tokyo's for much longer. Um, but for now, it is here.
You know what Tokyo
And
should legitimately replace it with?
what?
I'm not even like trying to make a Chippendale's Treehouse meme or anything, but like I know how popular Chippendale are in Japan. They could replace it with a Chippendale flume ride.
I don't think Chip and Dale can really support an entire ride like that. And
Well, I'm
I don't
just
know if
saying they are super popular in Japan though, right?
yeah, they are, but I don't know if that would make the ride popular.
I don't
Because
know.
like Chip and Dale, the characters are popular because they're cute.
Make it Rescue Rangers.
Well, that would be even worse. The
I know.
Japanese have
I'm
no
just
idea what that is. No, I know.
kidding.
Like I don't know. I don't know how that would go. Um,
Maybe like something based on like just old school Disney. Oh, hold on. No,
okay.
sorry, I'm on a show. Oh God. Okay, can you vent? Can you?
Oh, okay.
What's your next
Um,
number? What's your next number?
okay. Well, my next number is, and this is going to be very controversial for Tiki. My next number is Living with the Land, and Tiki's objectively wrong. Because Living with the Land is a fantastic ride, and it's a lot of fun. And I appreciate the edutainment aspects of it. Um, yeah, I don't really
Okay, I'm
know what
sorry.
else
What was
to.
your next one?
Okay, my number was five, four.
Yeah,
My number four was Living with the Land.
living
Um,
number fucking 4.
I love Living with the Land. It's a great
Oh
ride.
my God, I don't get this obsession with living with the land. I
It's not an
really don't.
obsession. I like food, Tiki.
No, no,
That
no. I'm
food
saying like not just you. I'm saying offhand Disney has an obsession with it too. I'm just like
it's a
I
great
don't get
ride.
it.
It's really serene. It's relaxing. It's one of the last bastions of edutainment in Epcot. It loses a little bit when by getting rid of the live narrator. Like I do miss the tour guide, and I do think it could use some updates. But I really like the biomes. I think the greenhouse is a lot of fun, especially during Christmas. Um,
The greenhouse is what kills it for me.
I don't understand. It's literally just sitting in a room looking at plants. It's not even that hot.
Yeah, exactly.
But
It's sitting in a room looking at plants
yeah,
for like 10 minutes.
yeah. But it's the greenhouse ride, Tiki. You don't like plants? You don't
I,
like seeing where your food comes from? Are
okay,
you the
like
type of person who's like
maybe like
food comes from the kitchen? Like
so the Luther Burbank Home and Gardens are like right there. Like I have a lot of I don't know.
but can you
Maybe
ride a boat through those
no,
gardens?
you can't ride a boat through the Hidden
Exactly.
Gardens. But I'm just saying
Exactly.
I'm used to the concept of what this ride is portraying. I
Well,
don't
I'm
know.
sorry that you're too used to your analog garden tours But no, I it's a lot of fun. I really like the greenhouses. I like that you can see alligators. You can see fish. They have catfish, and then you can go to the land and eat them. So it's like it's like your own little like pick your own restaurant.
Mhm.
I can point out a fish and say that one, and then eat it.
Can you really do that?
No, you can't.
I was like, I would be surprised. I know that like certain lobster places you can still do that, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure you can at lobster places. They do not do that at the Garden Grill.
Oh man, they should do that at Coral Reef.
Yeah,
I want that one.
But no, I really like living in the land. I like the greenhouse, but I also really like the dark ride section at the beginning. I think the biomes are really cool.
Also, you can't. You've got to agree with me on this one point, okay? The fact that the ending montage thing, whatever the hell it is dated as hell.
I know. No, I totally agree with that. No, that's a big issue with the ride.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I think anyone would agree with you on that. So yeah, living with the land.
Let's see. Just some comments here. Theme Park Priest says Grand Fiesta Tour, or is it Tiki's number one? No, Theme Park Priest. I actually kind of like specifically put it just outside of my top 5 because I'm like, I can in all good consciousness put it in my top 5, but god damn it, I'll put it right outside of my top 5.
Yeah.
He also says Splash Mountain has been my number 1 ride since 2017. I'm glad I got to ride it again in 2020. That's nice. Let's see. Big water-based treehouse. Heck yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Let's see. And also LEV says, Tiki, you don't understand. It's about living with the land. All right. Okay, cracking it out really quick. Let's get to I'm just going to go 5 and 4. Okay. So my number 5 is going to be Country Bear Jamboree.
Okay.
I know you disagree with me on this to a certain extent because you ranked it a lot lower than I am, obviously.
It's
I
honestly
just really
only because Tokyo's is so much better.
That's totally fair. That's totally fair. But I thought you said that you weren't going to take that into consideration with this kind of stuff.
I try not to, but sometimes,
But still, the reason I love this so much is I really feel like it is like the quintessential Florida Disney attraction. And with me going to Florida as much as I have over the past 5 years or so, I really do kind of get a sense of homecoming whenever I touch ground on, in the state. Like I'm not like the politics of Florida and everything else. That's obviously an entirely different thing. I'm talking about like the vibes, the Southern, I don't know. Like I really love kind of like that. Like I feel like Country Bears just really represents like the old school 1970s Southern tourist charm of Disney World just so well. I really just, I don't know. It's just like you really just get that great kind of feeling of homeliness when you're in that theater, and I just really feel like there's just a lot going on in the show. It's one of those shows where I feel like I notice different mannerisms and different movements with the animatronics every time I go, and like if you look up at the trophy heads, they'll have they'll be conversing amongst themselves, and then Gomer will be kind of I don't know. There's just I love the fact that much like the Tiki Room, this is very much to me the Tiki Room of Florida, which I know doesn't make that much sense because Florida has a Tiki Room, but I'm just saying as far as how intimate it is, because my problem with the Tiki Room in Florida is the fact that by making it so much bigger than the Disneyland one, you really just kind of lose the sense of intimacy. And I feel like the Country Bear Jamboree has that sense of intimacy. It has that sense of like walking into the theater and you feel like you're almost transported into a cartoon. And I love that about it.
Yeah.
All right. And my number 4, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. I can pretty much just bullet point this thing. Love the queue, obviously. Love the boarding area. Totally agree with you there. I love the landscaping of this thing, just in general. I feel like the rock work. I know that it's Florida, so obviously you just have more room just in general, but it just feels like it feels a lot more grand. I don't know, just like the vistas. I love how in the queue you can just like look out over, and just see the whole ride layout, and it just feels like the ride just has a sense of scale in Florida that it just doesn't have at Disneyland.
Mm.
The flooded town, I think, is a really, really, it's almost like an underrated, just how good that scene is, that in the fact that it's not at Disneyland. Like, you go by it really quickly, but I love the detail, and I love the just kind of like the Mark Davis sight gags in that scene. I totally agree with you. I almost kind of like hope that they don't just recycle the dynamite scene when they do replace what's the lift hill. I hope that they come up with something original just to kind of differentiate the two coasts. But yeah, I agree that the lift hill is like, it's the one thing that's kind of lacking, and that's only because it's a little bit anticlimactic. But other than that, I think it's through and through like the superior version of the attraction.
Mm.
Although granted, again, as a coaster enthusiast, I think Disneyland's is probably the slightly better coaster, like force wise. And that's honestly only because of the goat trick.
Yeah.
The laterals on that helix, man.
Yeah.
All right. LEB says they're country bears. That jamboree. Who could hate that? Indeed. All right. Yeah. What's your number 3?
My number 3. Here it is, Tiki. It's Space Mountain.
Okay.
Talked about it a lot when we got to you, or when we talked about it for you. This is, for me, this is a superior version of Space Mountain. I've always been a big proponent of the charm of this ride. This ride is a very handmade 70s charm that Disney rides don't have anymore. And even Disneyland Space Mountain doesn't have this anymore. And that was only like a 2-year difference between the two versions. I love the Star Tunnel. I love the music that they feature in the ride. Honestly, I think it's really the queue that makes it for me.
Oh no,
I love the queue.
Yeah,
the ride's great too. The
queue at Disneyland sucks, frankly.
Yeah, I haven't been in Disneyland's queue in a really long time. Even Tokyo's.
I waited like 2 hours in that queue once, and it was like probably one of the most miserable queue experiences I've ever had.
Yeah,
it's literally just on top of the roof.
Yeah. The only thing I hate about Disney Worlds is that weird unthemed hallway they put you in the like the loading atrium.
Oh, right. Yeah.
They've been doing it ever since like 2009. Yeah, I think 2009, and I hate it. It's so dumb. It used to be the chicken exit, so I have no idea why they read the queue.
Honestly, the unload to me is like weirdly almost feels unfinished as well.
Oh, I kind of like it. It still feels like an old Disney World ride.
No, it does. You're right. I'm just like compared to how unloads are. Like, look at something like, I mean, I know obviously like Rise of the Resistance. That's kind of like the quintessential, like the king of a great unload. Like, as much as I kind of poo-poo on Rise of the Resistance for being a bit overrated, that is an awesome unload experience.
Yeah.
But anyways.
No, I always like the old Disney rides where you get to the end of the ride and they're like, well, that's it. And then it's kind of like a wall-to-wall carpet room. Yeah.
I feel like the Haunted Mansion kind of starts like that almost.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like you go through the stretch room, it's like, all right, get on.
Most of the old Epcot rides did that, where they would have a really good queue, and then you just kind of exit into a room.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I obviously really like the return tunnel in Disney World. I do wish they kept the speed ramp. I understand why they got rid of it, but it still makes me sad. I don't know, I just really like the retro feel of the entire ride. Yeah.
All right, so speaking of Haunted Mansion, that's my number 3.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it's pretty far superior to the Disneyland version. I know
Yeah.
the Disneyland has Hatbox Ghost, but we're getting Hatbox Ghost.
I will say I do really like the Portrait Corridor in Disneyland.
That's fair. That's fair.
And I wish Disney World had that.
I mean, I honestly don't even know what to say. It's like this is such a quintessential attraction. It's a classic dark ride. Literally, like I have like the two biggest Animal Kingdom e-tickets as my number 2 slots, and honestly, the only reason why. I mean, I have reasons other than this, but like the two big reasons why they're so high is just because of their uniqueness, because they're literally like, like the only ones of their kind, and they just offer like to me just a totally unmatched experience. And we're obviously with Haunted Mansion, you have different variations. I feel like the Tokyo version of this is very similar. I feel like Phantom Manor is better. So it's like I can't put it as like my top cream of the crop. But I mean, yeah, as far as classic Disney goes, this is probably pretty easily the best thing at Disney World as far as classic Disney. All right.
Yeah. Okay. My number 3? I think so.
Yep.
No, my number 2.
Yeah,
my number 2. Sorry. So we got switched around again. Tiki, you ready to get mad?
I don't know.
My number 2 is Rise of the Resistance.
Oh, fuck.
Because I don't think it's overrated. I think it's a very good ride. Totally I also think it's one of the best. What?
It's totally overrated.
You're wrong. I genuinely, Rise of the Resistance is one of the best experiences I've ever had in an attraction, because I went into it fully blind and I had no idea what was inside, and it was amazing. Or rather, I knew a little bit of what was inside. I didn't know the specifics. It was amazing. I had a fantastic time riding it. I really enjoyed the entire experience. It was the first Disney attraction that from beginning to end felt like an experience. I loved the big set pieces. It was great to finally get a trackless ride in Disney World. Everything worked for me. And I think you're blinded by not wanting to give in to hype. And that's okay.
Theme Park Priest says he didn't win the lottery with Rise of the Resistance, and that's
I'm sorry.
Thing that,
I mean, I tried getting on the ride twice, and I rode the ride twice, so I had zero issue getting on the ride.
Yeah, I rode. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I've made my argument with Rise of the Resistance before. I just think, for me, it lacks the storytelling. Like, it obviously has storytelling cohesion. I think it almost has too much storytelling cohesion. It lacks the sense of, like, imagination, the sense of, like, the story is happening around you instead of happening to you, in my opinion. I don't know.
Tiki, they involve you in, like, every scene.
I just feel like an attraction like Haunted Mansion, or even like the Animal Kingdom attractions that we're about to go over, or Pirates of the Caribbean, or any number of Disney attractions like that, they just have a greater number, like a greater sense of, I don't know, maybe I honestly think I'm probably just biased because of the IP, and I don't want to, like, I'm not even biased about the hype, because just to jump into the hype, my number 2 is Flight of Passage. I mean, if that's not buying into the hype, I don't know what is, but we're just going to transition here because we're never going to agree on Rise of the Resistance.
No, of course we're not. That's
but Flight of Passage, to me, is the closest that I think a screen ride will ever come to matching that kind of cocktail party atmosphere that I love about old school Disney attractions. And the reason I say that is because I genuinely feel like there is so much going on the screen. There is so much to take in between the ride system itself, the breathing, the blasts of mist in your face, the actual visuals and optics of everything. I think the actual film is just it's paced perfectly. I love how it has just enough excitement to really get you gripped. But by the same time, it's not just complete wall to wall action. There's moments where you can breathe and really take in everything around you and really take in like the grand scope of the setting. I really think it is like as far as a simulator ride goes, it is freaking perfect. It is like next level. No other simulator ride that I have ever done even comes close to it. It's funny because I did the Simpsons ride, and I was like, wow, this is just like compared to something like Flight of Passage. I mean, I know it's I know it's obviously a much older ride system, but I don't know. I love Flight of Passage. The queue. I don't even think there's any boring part of the queue at all. I think the queue is just like from top to bottom. Just even the landscaping in the first part of the queue before you enter any show building or anything like that. The landscaping is just absolutely incredible. You're going up the rock work and it's totally transportive. And then when you get into the caves and and the bioluminescence and then the lab itself and there's just everything. Yeah, the pre-shows are a bit much. I'll agree with you there. The pre-shows are a bit much. That's the only thing. But I don't know, man. And the way that they keep the line moving too. That's another thing I appreciate. It's one of those things where it's like even with Fast Pass, I like every time I've done it. Yeah, it always does have a long line, but I'd rather wait 2 hours for this ride than 45 minutes in the Peter Pan's flight queue at Disneyland because that is just a miserable experience through and through. Whereas Flight of Passage, I'm actually going to have a lot of, I'm going to enjoy the time I spend in that queue. So yes, just through and through, just everything. The sight lines, the smells, it's just an amazing experience. It's like, to me, I feel like it is the last Disney Imaginary masterpiece that we might ever get. It's like Rise of the Resistance is a masterpiece of technology. I don't necessarily consider it, like, how I feel, but yeah. I don't know. Through and through, just everything about it. Wonderful spiritual experience. I'm hyped for Avatar 2, and I never thought I'd say that, and it's mostly because of this.
Yeah.
Honestly, yes. All right.
Okay. We did it. We've come down from 65 rides to number 1, Tiki.
Mm-hmm.
And my number 1 is probably obvious. But it's a pretty obvious pick, but my number 1 is the Haunted Mansion.
Yes.
And I was kind of surprised by that as well. But yeah, like Tiki said, this is absolutely the best version of the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, Phantom Manor.
Well, I'm talking about like Haunted Mansion. It's better than Disneyland. It's better than Tokyo. It's better than those are the only 3. It's better. Yeah, it's the best Haunted Mansion named Haunted Mansion.
That's fair, but
yeah,
still exists.
You're right, and we're not talking about that.
I mean, Mystic Manor, I can understand the separation, but come on, Phantom Manor is through and through the Haunted Mansion IP for the most part.
No, I know. It's semantics, but it's okay. We kind of already talked about it with Tiki, but this has really cool effects. I like the additions that it has that Disneyland doesn't. Soon we will be getting the Hatbox Ghost. I'm still unsure how I feel about that. Of course, I'm happy to have it in a place.
I still maintain that we should get the Beating Heart Bride.
No, I still think we should get the Disney World should get the guy in the spider web. Yeah, I really like that.
I really want that Beating Heart Bride back, like desperately.
Just go to Tokyo. She's in Tokyo.
Well, I'm gonna go to Tokyo eventually, but that's
Good.
not the big selling point for going
You
to
have
Tokyo.
you have 1.5 years before I go back to the U.S.
Oh, jeez. Oh, don't say that. Oh, no. That's pressure.
I'm forcing your hand.
What month of 2024?
2024. Well, I leave in March of 2024.
Oh,
So
God.
January of 2024.
Okay. I
Or you can,
honestly might have to save some money and make that happen.
yeah, if you want to.
Well, I kind of need to because, like, I'm not going to fly down alone.
That's very fair. Yeah, I mean Tokyo's pretty accessible.
Yeah, I know, but I don't trust myself.
Well, no, what I'm saying is I should definitely be there if you're going to Tokyo, but it is
Sure.
pretty accessible.
Um,
You can get a lot of different food that's not just Japanese food. But anyway,
that's
Haunted
the
Mansion.
problem. Japanese food is like one of my favorite foods.
Oh, good, then fantastic. You're good to go. Do you like sushi?
Depends.
Okay.
Depends on the sushi.
I wasn't sure. I didn't think you would, but yeah, whatever.
I like shellfish-based sushi.
There's a little bit of that,
I know, it's not
but
much.
yeah, it's mostly like so in Japan it's mostly salmon and tuna. Those are the two like big standby sushis. Um, you can't get shrimp, you can get crab, but it's mostly salmon and tuna. Anyway, Haunted Mansion, it's a real good ride. It's my number one pick. I really like the additions that they made to Disney World. So I really like the outdoor interactive queue. I do agree that it takes a little bit away from the queue, or a little bit of the suspense away, I guess. But it's still really fun. It's a really good addition. I do wish that Disneyland had the Disney World had the portrait corridor that Disneyland has. I always thought that was a really cool, like another tension setter, I guess. And it made it a little easier to get to the Doom buggies from the stretching room.
You know what's funny
Uh,
is that in that room at Disneyland, I'm always like very aware of the fact that I am just like in a warehouse that's slightly off to the side of the railroad track. I'm in that
really?
room. Yes.
Yeah, that's funny.
I'm just like I am like literally like in a warehouse right under the railroad tracks right now.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, just everything
Jenny
about this.
Nicholson just did a video about Disneyland Ghosts, and she had
Yeah,
some pretty interesting insights about like the behind the scenes infrastructure of the haunted mansion.
yeah,
It's very vertical.
yeah.
Anyways,
I Everything about this version of the ride is just a step above Disneyland's, and I really appreciate it for that. Yeah, Haunted Mansion. It's a great ride.
right? And my number one, this is probably the coaster junkie in me talking, but it is Expedition Everest: Legend of the Forbidden Mountain.
Wow.
I don't know, man. So here's what I love about Everest. I honestly, this is going to sound stupid. This might be a really stupid thing. But like, if you're counting the main lift hill, like if you don't count that initial, like if you count the main lift hill as like the lift hill, and you count everything leading up to that as quote unquote pre-lift, so that includes like the small lift hill that you take. I honestly think this might have the single best pre-lift moments of any coaster. I absolutely love the fact so much. I love the scale of this thing. I love the fact that it is literally a journey to get from the station to the actual mountain. I don't know. Like that to me is just it is so the placemaking of it is so ingenious. How you have, you have the little lift hill and then, just like the the landscape section leading up to the big lift hill. And I think the storytelling on this thing is absolutely perfect. It is like literally like the most perfect 3-act structure in the form of a theme park ride ever. I don't know. I just feel like everything on this ride is firing on all cylinders. I feel like the fact that it has a single rider line that's actually super duper accessible is a big point in its favor as well. It's like one of the few Disney e-tickets that you can actually get on pretty easily and that you can legitimately kind of marathon if you want to. So that's a big plus. I don't know, just even the little things like the stupid hawk on the stick that doesn't work half the time, but when I first noticed it, it blew my mind, like stuff like that. And as far as the Disco Yeti thing, I'm gonna tell you the damn truth. I like the Yeti still scares me. Just the scale of the thing scares me. The design of the thing scares me.
I think a lot of it for me is that I saw it working.
No, totally. But I'm just saying, as someone who didn't see it working, like I know what I'm missing. Sure, I do know what I'm missing. But by the same token, I really do think that the effect for what it is now, I think it's understandable that they don't want to just they would basically have to like rebuild this ride from scratch essentially. So I will criticize Disney for a lot of penny pushing, but it is a big ask. Just given the situation.
Yeah.
And I honestly think if the show scene itself was a little bit more than just quickly going through the mountain, basically what I'm saying is it happens so fast that I really don't even think it makes that big of a difference. To me, it's kind of like I'm kind of reminded of how the statues of the Velociraptors interact with the coaster on Velocicoaster, where it's like, it really doesn't matter that they're not animatronics because the visual mixed with the sound effect, I feel like, does the trick. Would it be nice if it was an animatronic? Yeah, but I still think it sells the moment well enough. All right.
Yeah. It does, but it's still,
well, regardless, I just feel like this is just like a big step above the storytelling coasters of the past, the Big Thunder Mountains.
Yeah.
The Big Thunder Mountains, the Space Mountains. I feel like just from a storytelling perspective, the mountain itself is absolutely iconic. It is a feat of rock work that can only be rivaled by the Cadillac Range in Cars Land. It just totally, just literally reshaped the entire park. It's great. It's great.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I think up until Hagrid's, this was the best storytelling coaster.
Hagrid's is better.
Orlando.
I will.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, absolutely, Hagrid's is better. Yeah.
And on that note,
we did it.
And yeah, folks, don't forget to vote for the next great ranking podcast.
And don't forget to vote in your general election. Am I right?
Yeah, you are right, indeed. If you are interested in that, let me see. Have we gotten any more votes?
If you're interested in voting, go on to the government's website. Go onto your state's website.
Ooh, we got
7 Find your polling votes. Place.
Looks like Universal is leading the pack right now.
That's not a surprise.
It's not.
Yeah.
All right. We did it.
Hooray.
Have a good night, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Goodbye.